You've heard of cartel talk over on TikTok. Well, folks, today we're getting ready to talk about K2 talk over on TikTok. Folks, that's right. I know you've had to have seen the videos all over social media showcasing prisoners looking like they're having full-blown exorcisms while incarcerated, wigging out from whatever type of drugs they're on. And most likely, what those reactions are caused from is something that is referred to as K2, Flocka, Spice. I'm sure it has a bunch of other names as well. Matter of fact, when I was locked up many years ago, when this stuff first started coming on the scene, it was called Spice, but it was also called Paper. And back during this time, this was around 2013, it feels like this stuff was extremely experimental, not from my own personal endeavors with this, because I never messed with the stuff. Folks, I've shared a story before here about a guy by the name of Ziggler. Matter of fact, I think Ziggler actually watches my videos now, and I think that he's actually doing well in life, so shout out to Ziggler. But I will never forget this guy for this one particular incident. We were at Indian Creek, a therapeutic community. You had to group for like 8 hours a day. It was a torture camp. It was a little bit like an alligator Alcatraz. Probably a horrible analogy because I've got no idea what that is. During one particular group, prisoners were asked if they wanted to stand up and offer a motivational piece, a statement, say something positive. Ziggler got up. For whatever reason, he wasn't even about that life. Partaking in group. Ziggler was a rebel, like the majority of the prisoners during that time. Faking it to make it, not really wanting to have shit to do with the groups, and were really up to no good any chance that they could be. I was like that too, just not indulging with the drugs. But for whatever reason, Ziggler got up this one day and he started talking about how he was going to go home and change his ways and change his life. And I mean, people were rooting this guy on. That's right, Ziggler. Get out and do the right thing. I just sat here in a little bit of shock and awe because I was like, what the? Maybe he was already on the spice during this. I got no freaking idea. But all I know is this man gave an inauguration type speech about doing the right thing and wanting to change the error his ways. I'm going to tighten up and fly right, which was so symbolic. Speaking of flying right, I really want to go home and spread my wings this time. It wouldn't be, but maybe an hour later during rec, all of a sudden you heard like a code 12 over the radio, and you heard the rustle and bustle of the keys a-jangling on the officers' waistbands as they were running through the housing unit. I think I was doing a tattoo or some shit. For whatever reason, I wasn't at rec when this took place. Guards running through the housing unit to the back door. And the next thing I know, about 4 guards, a makeshift motley crew goon squad, comes back through the housing unit carrying a hog-tied Ziggler who looks like he's in the middle of an exorcism. I had no idea what had happened. All I could remember was the speech this man had just given. It would be told to me later that he did some spice, some K2, some Flocka, smoked it, and that he immediately began clucking like a chicken and antagonizing an officer doing that. A cluck, cluck, cluck. Like, I don't even know. How do you antagonize somebody acting like a chicken? Buddy's head was probably twisting around his shoulders. Looked like the devil was probably trying to come out of that young man during that time. But again, I think Ziggler ended up getting shipped off of the compound because of that. Here's a guy who just an hour before was proclaiming the fact that he was going to change his ways. And now all of a sudden he was getting sent to a level 4 maximum security for an attempted assault on an officer. God, I miss telling the old war stories. But anyways, folks, let's go ahead and go down a little rabbit hole over on TikTok, something that I just stumbled across, which when I did so, the first thought that went through my mind was, and TikTok had the audacity to ban me doing a live stream because I said the phrase "no Diddy," and they referred to that as hate speech. But yet, this is okay. $120 per sheet. Look at this. We got the paper drying, sprayed undoubtedly with that K2. And I guess what those liquid in those 20-ounce drink bottles is probably the mixture. $120 for a sheet of paper. Folks, somebody is getting rich off of this. And this is okay over on TikTok. We are literally advertising the distribution of narcotics. And even worse, to be smuggled into correctional facilities. Folks, this shit has no street value whatsoever. Ain't nobody out in the world, in the free world, doing no dumbass shit like this. But yet in prison, as the saying goes, when in Rome. I hate to sound like the police right here, but the name of this TikTok account is legitimately K2 Prison Papers 2. And folks, don't shoot the messenger here. Oh, Joe, you're the police. You exposing this shit. The comment section is everybody telling. Top comment, Anthony. A lot of jails and prisons are switching over to digital mail. Legal mail. If you know, you know. Yeah, Anthony, and speaking of that legal mail, here's a great example of that right here. Some makeshift legal mail sprayed with this substance that's going to have you clucking like a chicken in the prison. I don't understand why anybody would ever want to indulge with this shit. You've seen the videos. You see how dudes are reacting when they smoke this or eat this or whatever they do. I did an interview with a guy one time and this topic came up. And I posed that same question, like, why would anybody want to do this? And he actually answered it pretty profoundly, telling me, look at what the alternative is. Reality in prison. Some people would rather have their heads twist around their shoulders than to have to face the reality of being incarcerated. And folks, if we're running across these videos like this, you got to know that the institutions are as well. Look at Buddy. Buddy's got the dish gloves on. You don't want to let this shit seep through your pores. I just got to imagine. I have no idea what type of a bad trip that this shit really is. I couldn't explain it to you. But I've certainly seen enough videos, as I imagine all of you have as well, to know that it is nothing short of just that. This has got to be like a one and done. You do this shit one time and you don't never want to mess with this again. This shit could have you do some stuff that you would live to regret for the rest of your life. What if you unalive somebody while on the flocka and have no prior recollection of anything of the sort taking place? I doubt you're beating that charge just because you were under the influence. And look at this dumbass, I mean the dumbest ass comment on this. If you don't think that the feds are watching this, man, this is what's wrong with the world in 2025. People are so brazen. It's not for having the biggest balls in the world. It's because you're just that damn dumb. We got an account right here called Prison Life. Talking about I'm in SCDC, South Carolina Department of Corrections. Let's get it. Gotta do the legal mail, though. That's the only way it'll make it through. Abracadabra. And folks, it must be a lucrative venture. I mean, look at this. I don't think that that's prop money right there. Good God. They is getting whopped up messing with this shit. That dude got a gold-plated money counter. Did you see that? Man, forget that cartel talk. Which is essentially like watching that movie Blow in real life. Look at that gold-plated money counter right there. I ain't gonna lie, man. This shit getting me a little brick right here. But as lucrative as this looks, as enticing as it's gotta be, make no mistake of it. The feds are subscribed to this channel. You've got the top comment on this saying, I'll take a job. Oh my God, everybody's getting indicted off of this. This is crazy, man. What if it's the feds that are actually running this account right here? What if it's DOC that set this all up? What if this is all for show? And this is one of those magic shows that we've talked about in the past. You know, when a guy's got warrants out for his arrest, what's the easiest way to apprehend him? The police get his phone number, call him. Hey, Jermaine, you've just won a prize. You've won a brand new car. Come on down and collect. Freeze, you're under arrest. For the fact that this account has not been banned. I mean, what is TikTok after all? Is this 4chan? Is that what it's turning into? You got to believe this ain't for real. Is it AI? Ain't no way. It's not AI. It's FBI. That was actually really good right there. I just made that up on the fly. And folks, I guess this is the proof in the pudding right here that that's some good shit. Look at this. These guys look like they are absolutely stuck in the frickin' Matrix. Buddy is laid out on what looks like a shower floor. He got his face all up in the baby sharks. Ain't no goddamn way. This man about to have Mercer on his on his eyebrow. And it's sad, too, looking at these guys, feeling like this is the way that we've got to do our time right here. I can't respect this at all. And folks want to leave comments with little laughing emojis. Yeah, man. Hey, that's somebody's son right there. Somebody's father laid out like they just got knocked out. They didn't get KO'd. They got K2'd. Forgive me for that. I know that was another bar right there. I don't know what's gotten into me today. I am just absolutely feeling it. One final thing I want to share in this video. I ran across this really interesting news story right here about, I believe, the state of Pennsylvania. And this happened a couple of years ago, but the K2 epidemic in the spice was so out of control. So much, in fact, that actually guards were getting sick from catching some sort of a contact from this shit, that they not only locked down every facility in the state, they completely shut down all mail during this particular time.
25 of Pennsylvania's state prisons remain on lockdown as they try to get a handle on synthetic drugs, specifically something called K2. But a local addiction expert tells David Highfield he questions what's going on.
K2, a synthetic drug that's a clear, odorless liquid, is apparently being sprayed on letters and mailed to inmates.
They can rip up pieces of paper and smoke it, which is what I'm guessing they're probably doing, or they can ingest the paper.
Mitchell West is the medical director of Allegheny Health Network's Addiction Services, and he can't quite figure out why so many prison employees are getting sick. More than 30 taken to the hospital in recent weeks.
Let me jump in here real quick. When I was hearing this, I thought that it potentially came from them handling said mail sprayed with this substance on it. But you got to know that anybody who's working in the mail department, they're going to be wearing gloves whenever they're handling anything coming into the facility. And this is a perfect example of why. How were these guards getting sick from this?
I don't think they're making it up, but I don't understand how they're getting sick from it.
He says eating or smoking paper soaked in K2 would definitely have an effect, but
when this substance is dried on a piece of paper, it's not going to make you sick.
He says maybe if you...
And what it seems like he was trying to say right there, I mean, I could be wrong about this. He said when it's dried on a piece of paper, it's not going to make you sick. Is he talking about touching that paper? Because I can't imagine that this substance would not seep into your pores. Folks, nobody knows what this stuff really is. It first started out as potentially some form of synthetic marijuana, and now it's just metamorphed into any and every cheap thing that could give somebody who indulges in this some sort of a high, whether it's a good one or it's seeming to be, in all cases, a bad one. But I've even heard that they're spraying straight up bug spray on this paper and smoking that shit.
Countered inmates smoking it, you could be affected.
Conceivably, but I wouldn't expect that they would be able to inhale enough smoke if they weren't actively smoking it themselves to get a level that was enough to cause symptoms.
A full dose can make users confused, anxious, and paranoid, among other symptoms. For now, there's no mail at state prisons, and employees are getting hazmat training.
Wow.
And it's not just a problem in our state prisons. In fact, the Wolf administration issued a warning just yesterday about synthetic drugs and how deadly they can be.
One of the points that K2 can be laced with almost anything.
Things are being mixed together, things are being made. We don't know what these substances are.
Wow.
And so you really have to use extreme caution.
And Mitchell West wants people to know that taking the drug is a serious risk.
People can die from it. People can die. There's been deaths reported from it, yeah.
So I guess that about sums it up in a nutshell right there, folks. I cannot believe that there's an entire TikTok account. And this is not the only one. I see this all over the place. It's not just on TikTok. I've seen this shit in Facebook Marketplace. I think that's the only other place that I've seen this. But I got to imagine it's elsewhere, too. They probably got the shit for sale on freaking eBay. Just crazy to think how brazen people have become with all things related to this. When I think back to when I was serving time, and I know that that was damn near 2 decades ago, at least when I first got arrested. You know, people tried to keep things on the low. Nowadays, either they don't care or maybe the facilities don't. Not really sure what to make of all of it, but wanted to share this with you and hope that you found some interest in this. And if you did so, please leave a like and a comment on this video, letting me know exactly what you think. And if you find yourself new here on After Prison Show, enjoying this content but not yet subscribed to this channel, please consider doing so that you never miss an upload from us. That would certainly be appreciated and go a long ways to helping to support this channel. As always, until next time, enjoy life, the free world, never take a moment for granted, and make the most of every day. Peace!